a beautiful day outside. I know you have choices, many choices in Lynn for things to do on beautiful days. So thank you for coming out. The Lynn Community Association is proud to sponsor this event for the fourth year now, and it's a tradition. And I would like to introduce our board members who are present today, in no particular order. We have Douglas and Duncan Maitland, who do a lot of work, carry a lot of stuff upstairs out here today. Dulcie Gonzalez is a youth member, right back here. Aaron Hawkins, the lyrical genie over here. Shirley Gallo, who is right there. And Drew Russo. Caroline Dowley is also a youth board member. She's not here today. And Bob Connolly, another board member I have not seen today. I'm Mary Trahan, and I'm president of the association. And our mission is to promote pride and ownership in the Lynn community through beautification, education, recreation, and neighborly relationships. And we're in our 5th year of doing that. And we've come a long way, but we can always be better. We are in a beautiful building. I believe they said this was built in 1898. It was originally built without electricity. And that's why we need a lot of finding power strips to plug everything in today. But it's a beautiful building, beautiful skylights, and it's one of the few things, one of the many things in Lynn that we really should take more pride in as Lynners. We have so many things that people outside our community don't even know that we have, not to mention the wonderful people and wonderful neighbors that we have here. We have the Gammon Golf Course. We have Lynn Beach, Lynn Beach and Kings Beach. We have the Grand Army of the Republic Museum. We have Dungeon Rock over in Lynn Woods. We have High Rock Tower and the Observatory. We have the Pine Grove Cemetery, which is magnificent. And we're going to be teaching a lot more about the Lynn Trails themselves this year. Lynn Arts, our nonprofits are really great. Lynn Arts is a fabulous program. Arts After Hours in our theaters. The new, not the amphitheater, but the auditorium, the City Hall. Raw Arts is the envy of our neighboring communities, and they send their teams to us. The Downtown Lynn Neighborhood Association, the Lynn Museum, the Friends of Lynn and Hot Beach, and the concerts, the summer concerts that they put on for us free at Red Rock Park with grants that they get through raising money. Just so much. The Highlands Coalition, Goldfish Pond Association, a big Chamber of Commerce, the Downtown Lynn Neighborhood Association. It goes on and on and on. Lynn has a lot to offer that many of our neighboring cities don't have, and yet we hide this under a basket sometimes and don't let people know that we have all of this. Not to mention that we have the diversity, the minorities that we have here. We have a very, very rich culture in Lynn. So we have something to be proud about here. And without going into any much further ado, before you leave here, and before we get through, and I finish announcements tonight, if you have not already gotten a red ticket, we've got a wonderful Red Sox backpack for a door prize. And we also have a Lynnopoly game, which was put together by the Lynn Chamber of Commerce. And so we have those two gifts, which are really very nice gifts. And if you want a chance at winning, you have to have a red ticket. There's no charge for that red ticket. You just have to get it back from your ticket. We have had for 4 years, and then we re-elected her last fall. And she is in her first year of that second term, and we are looking forward to see what our mayor, please help me welcome Mayor Judith Flanagan Kennedy.
I really want to thank Mary and all of the board members and members of the Lynn Community Association for continuing with this State of the City tradition that we've been holding in May or June for the last several years. I really appreciate having a chance to get out and speak to all of you. I don't consider this quite a formal speech. I look around and I can identify almost every one of you by name. So it really feels like I'm speaking to friends and colleagues, and in that way I have to tell you it makes me a lot more relaxed, because even after 4 years I'm still a little nervous when I have to get up and give a speech. But in any event, good afternoon to all of you. It's so nice to be here at the Lynn Library giving this speech, and I want to thank the trustees and Teresa Hurley for hosting us here today. A few months ago, I had the pleasure of touring the library. From the stacks to the glass floors to all the treasures in the attic, it reminded me of not only how wonderful a resource the library is, but also how many other wonderful resources we have here in Lynn, and how lucky we are to live where we do. Where else in Massachusetts do residents host an urban setting sandwiched between a 2,200-acre wooded reserve and the Atlantic Ocean? On one side of the ocean, an expansive promenade where thousands routinely surf, walk, jog, listen to music, and watch movies. On the other side, a rehabilitated 165-slip marina, a new high-speed ferry, and in a word, potential. We have a public golf course that rivals some of the best private courses in Massachusetts. A blossoming art scene where on any given night you can muck it up with A-listers such as Pat Benatar, Cheap Trick, ZZ Top, or one of my favorites, Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jews, in a beautiful, intimate, and newly air-conditioned setting. We are home to 2 signature ponds and your beautiful goldfish pond. We run one of the best municipal sporting complexes in New England, in Fraser and Manning Field. Our residents can book time at High Rock Tower and Observatory to utilize a professional telescope to explore the moon, rings of Saturn, star clusters, and nebulae. My Latin didn't correct that. Once empty shoe factories have been converted into beautiful lofts where residents commute to Boston via a variety of public means in a mere 20 minutes. A developing restaurant scene that has it all, from award-winning burgers at Blue Locks to exquisite Italian cuisine at Rossetti's to pad thai at Encore Lot. You can taste it all. Add to this a bustling North Shore Community College, bursting at the seams, and our proximity to Boston, and we truly have it all. In fact, a recent Boston Globe magazine article had us rubbing elbows with Newburyport, Lincoln, Hamilton, and Ipswich as one of the top 13 Massachusetts communities where the real estate market is sizzling. If I can stop and give you a quick little statistical confirmation of that. At the height of our market, in 2005, our average single-family home price was $290,000. By the depth of the real estate market in 2011, the average real estate one-family home price was $174,500. It has now rebounded in 2014, so that for the period January through April, our single-family home median sales price is now at $220,000. That is up 26.1% from that 2011 low. The condos have been up 37%, and overall, our real estate is up to 31.4% of that 2011 low. selling at 96.6% of its listing price. Now back to the fun stuff that the Boston Globe told about us. There's a groundswell of activity in Lynn. It's a tangible vibe, a wave that is reshaping us in a positive way. We are investing in our core, partnering with waterfront developers, rolling up our sleeves, trimming budgets, and prudently using every penny to make sure we don't miss any opportunity to make Lynn all that it can be and should be. Now I know what the clock that is now. Thank you, Mr. Flanagan. The last time I stood before you and reported on the state of our city, our finances were in order, we had implemented a variety of new policies, and we were working on a smattering of large and small-scale projects. I'm happy to report that many of these initiatives are finished and many more have started. On finances, with a bit more belt tightening and an ever-wary eye on the bottom line, we remain on solid financial ground. We are diligently working out a solution to our net school spending issue, and our bond rating, which was raised to A+ in November of 2013, has remained steady at that level, a solid indication to those looking to do business with us that we have our financial house in order. We have increased the school department budget by over 9% for FY15, and we are trimming each other departmental budget this year by 2%, while we continue to explore ways to challenge our workforce to be competitive and find new ways to conduct the business of government. Long gone are the days of this is the way we always did it, and the little boy numbers. We have been able to invest in our future while trimming excess, pushing our workforce to excel, and rebuffing the stigma of government workers. On investments, at every turn we are investing in our own city resources and infrastructure, while also partnering with and assisting developers looking to invest in Lynn, making our community a better place in which to live and conduct business. With our master plan in place across the street for the Lynn Commons, we will be celebrating the total rehabilitation of the Frederick Douglass Bandstand later this summer. When complete, this $900,000 project will feature new lighting, plantings, wrought iron benches, handicap access, and, as the structure is on the National Register of Historic Places, intricate detailed work on the entire wooden structure. From here, we will turn our attention to the small commons portion of the common, rehabbing the antique fence, walkway, and adding period-style lighting. The common is truly a gateway to our downtown, and we should showcase it as such. Having completed our Flats Pond Park and High Rock Park projects, we held a renovation ceremony at Neptune Boulevard Park on Tuesday, announcing over $800,000 worth of improvements, including the city's second splash pad, new children's play equipment, a new volleyball court, and new baseball, softball, and soccer fields. Investments in our parks are not only wonderful for our children, but also important from an economic and housing standpoint. The work highlights to those looking to conduct business and live here that we maintain and care about our future and infrastructure. In addition to this Neptune Park, we are busy at work at Frazier's Locust Street entrance, repaving it, creating additional parking, a bus drop-off, and installing new lighting. We will also break ground soon on a host of improvements to our smaller and medium-sized parks. You should see new play equipment and site improvements soon at parks such as Gallagher, Cook Street, Clark, Magnolia, Barry, and Kylie, where we are hopeful at Kylie that our application for the city's third splash pad will be approved. These parks are essential to the affordable neighborhoods and well worth the investment. In addition, if you happen to drive down Parkland Avenue, you will be sure to witness our dog park, full of happy pets, including mine, and happy owners, including me, enjoying time together. Parkland Avenue Dog Park has proven to be a wonderful success. We are continuing to rebuild and maximize the use of our GAR building, a wonderful resource right here in downtown Lynn, home to some of the most unique and sought-after Civil War memorabilia on the East Coast. $50,000 was just spent on the interior and facade, and another $150,000 will soon be spent on additional improvements. I'm just going to veer off script again for a minute because I see Bob Mathias in the back. He is hosting a bean supper tonight to raise some money for the GAR. And how much are the tickets, Bob?
$10.
$10, and you can get a bean supper
a good deal.
for the GAR and support one of our true treasures. Feeding begins at 6, so don't be late. You could miss out. On the educational front, we are so happy to be breaking ground on our Marshall Middle School project on June 9th. This is the largest investment in the city in decades, totaling over $90 million. It will not only transform education for our students who attend this new school, but also the entire surrounding neighborhood. We have met with the Housing Authority, Economic Development, and Community Development to use this Marshall Middle School not just as a nice new school, but to be the catalyst to change in that entire neighboring area, from Brookline Street to Timpson Street in Phase 1 and over to Essex Street in Phase 2. When complete in 2016, this state-of-the-art 180,000 square foot facility will house approximately 1,100 students. And of course, the auditorium continues to rock and roll. In the past 4 years, we have quadrupled the number of bookings. And on this coming Tuesday, we will go on sale with Casey and the Sunshine Band and a double bill featuring Night Ranger and, pay attention, you're a fan, 38 Special. The air conditioning is up and running, and on show nights, we are attracting thousands to our downtown from all over New England. The importance of the economic spin-off created before and after shows cannot be understated. Ticket holders pour into the streets looking for a place to eat or drink after shows, and restaurants are booked up weeks in advance for dinner before shows. We are starting to beat Don Law at his own game. The sky is the limit for the auditorium. The Arts and Cultural District continues to gain momentum. In addition to the stalwarts such as Lynn Arts, the Lynn Museum, and Raw Arts, Arts After Hours is entering its 5th season, just having completed 13 sold-out shows of Avenue Q. Next up, Corey Jackson and his crew take their show on the road to High Rock Tower for Henry V. In addition, this past month, my office, in conjunction with Community Development and EDIC, hired the first director of the Arts and Cultural District. Emily Ruddock will lead the district, working hard to attract artists, cultural enterprises, and foster local cultural development in our city. This is an exciting step forward, and I encourage all of you to get involved. We will continue to implement the commercial facade program, which provides assistance to businesses located in the downtown area for the purpose of upgrading and coordinating signage and storefronts, and continue to install period-style lighting throughout the downtown. These improvements enhance the aesthetic appearance and economic vitality of the area. In addition to our $5 million transformative Viola Square project that is set to begin next month, we are looking forward to investing $500,000 in the public parking lot behind the square. Wyoma businesses are such a wonderful and important piece of the city's economy, and we will continue to do everything we can to strengthen them as not only part of the business district, but also as an important gateway into Boston Street and downtown proper. On the waterfront, a dream that began in 2007 became a reality 2 weeks ago when we launched our first ever Lynn to Boston commuter ferry. This is one of the first steps of development along our waterfront. Commuters from not only Lynn, but Swampscott, Marblehead, and Nahant will now be able to commute to Boston via a beautiful high-speed ferry. This trip will only take 30 minutes and will run from now until September 12th. Across the harbor, community development is putting the finishing touches on a fully rehabilitated seaport marina with a state-of-the-art fueling dock and will soon begin work on a $370,000 federal boating grant that will be used to install transient dockage, affording tourists the ability to tie their boats up and visit Lynn. All this work dovetails with EDIC's Blossom Street ferry service. I would also like to report on two major developments that have happened in the past 60 days. First, a P&S has been signed for the former Beacon Chevrolet site that has lain dormant for over 15 years. The new owners are proposing to build a mixed-use development on this highly visible site. The project will include 238 residential units with ocean views and first-floor commercial space. At the other end of Group 1A, the new spirit of communication and dialogue that was established between my office and GE executives has paid dividends on yet another large parcel of land. The former GE gear plant land is also under agreement. This land has views of the Boston skyline and access to a commuter bus stop. We are working closely with the new owner in developing this land for mixed use. The owner has shown us tentative plans outlining the first floor commercial retail space and residential units above. I will keep you posted on these exciting projects that have potential to transform our waterfront. In addition, the finishing touches are being put on the new home of Kettle Cuisine. Located on the Linway, behind the Clock Tower building, this company was very successful in Chelsea, where they outgrew their space. We welcomed them with open arms, and they have invested over $20 million to date and will create 100 new jobs. We will be celebrating a grand opening with them later this year. On the advent of the casino up the road from these developments, the last time I spoke to you, we were meeting with casino executives working towards being designated a surrounding community by the Gaming Commission. I am happy to report that our persistence paid off, and we have struck agreements with the developers. If constructed, we will not only receive a monetary benefit, but have made sure that any impacts to the city of Lynn are either positive in nature or minimized. We deserve a seat at the negotiating table as a surrounding community, made the case, and were designated one. This is important as the state moves forward with issuing casino licenses. It ensures that our voice is heard and our concerns are heeded. Other important subjects of note include the continuance of our downtown community policing initiative and CLT officers. I believe both are so vital to reducing crime by connecting our officers with the community on a personal level. We also implemented our first automated parking lot in the downtown to help with the investment that has occurred on Liberty and Sutton Street. Starbucks is on its way to the Linway, and we are working on an open space plan with which we will apply for additional funding for the Lynn Common. We have also made sure our ponds are maintained, funding weed eradication at both Flats and Sluice Ponds. And I will note for the Ward 2 people that this year my office has included additional funding so that we can start the weed eradication at Floating Bridge Pond over at Buchanan Bridge. In all, these current and future investments in our infrastructure and resources can only help attract more businesses, more residents, and more visitors to the city of Lynn. We will continue to work hard investing in these resources, exploring new ideas and new ways to accomplish our goals. If you get the chance, tell someone outside Lynn about all we have to offer. I have witnessed time and time again, once people come to the auditorium for a show, walk Lynn Shore Drive, play around in Gannon, or take a walk in the woods. They come back again and again to this wonderful place we call Lynn, Massachusetts. I do want to end by again thanking the Lynn Community Association for the opportunity, oh, wait a minute, to present this beautiful city here today. And I'm not done yet. Am I going to go on without saying how we commit? Like many other community organizations in the city, you are part of what makes Lynn so vibrant. I'll end by saying I love my job serving you as the mayor of Lynn. What other job charges you with leading over 2,500 employees, offering a $280 million budget, and releasing 175 goldfish in the pond? I'll see you on June 7th at Goldfish Pond. And thank you for all that you all do. Well, for those of you who don't know who's speaking here, Dr. Jill is a retired veterinarian, so she has great concern. We watch the swans. I live near that area, and we watch the swans every year. Last year they had 3 babies. One of the babies didn't survive, unfortunately. This year they just came out with their 5 little babies floating home. And Dr. Jill knows that they need that habitat in order to raise those cygnets into swans successfully. So you make sure you call my office on Monday, and we will communicate with community development and make sure that those babies have a chance to grow. They just go into the hiding. Yeah. But I will make sure the babies are protected. Okay. Call my office on Monday, and we'll get your expert opinion on when it should be started. That's great. No, I appreciate your input. I do. Yes, sir.
We were recognized. When you're identified stand up and speak, if you would stand and kind of turn towards the camera a little bit, and so people beside you can hear it as well.
In your address, for a tutoring project that's wonderful, the park renovation you mentioned, a whole bunch of parks for children, and the 1A, a lot of young adults or seniors might go to these condos, whatever you're going to build in that area. A related project which has been tabled for years is about 7 communities who have built this wonderful path that's supposed to go right to the sea. It's called the recreational trail. There's a door in front of the land that says you cannot come in, you cannot come down the trail. Why?
I have said this repeatedly since 2010 that I'm concerned about the liability issues that are connected to that, and I'm concerned about the upkeep and maintenance costs that would be connected to that. I will tell you that I have had a company approach me that wants to run a sea cable from The Brewers were going through their board shakeup. I think many of you might have heard about that on the news about the rival board members that were trying to seize control of the operations. But that has now been all put to rest, at least as far as the development goes. I know that the one in Revere had been stalled for a while because they were waiting for the dust to settle, so to speak. That has been settled. Revere moved along. We're in the pipeline behind Revere. They are doing a traffic study. As I said, all of the electricity has been brought up to the site, and I think the next thing that they're going to do is present the traffic study to the planning board so that they will be able to control traffic, because we didn't want to have a site that had traffic coming in on Western Avenue. As many of you know, the location about which we are speaking is part of a five-way intersection. It's southbound, Federal Street, Center Street, there's just too many. So we're looking to site the entrance over on, I want to say Center Street, but off the main road so that we don't have traffic coming in and out. But that causes concerns on the other end because Waterhill Street is such a small street, we don't want to clog up the traffic in Westland. So they've proposed a variety of changes. They've had some one-ways that they're looking to convert to two-ways and some two-ways that they're looking to convert to one-ways. But we are very concerned because we want to make sure that when we bring this development in, it's not a disruption to anybody's neighborhood. And they are working with those ideas in place. But it is moving along, and I think it's scheduled to be open in November of next year or fall of next year. So you should be seeing some more significant, visible progress on it now that the electricity's been brought into the site. I thought I saw somebody else. Just a watching.
When you know,
Well, you can speak without asking a question.
okay, I have serious concerns about the ramifications of the next school spending policy. I know that the recent school committee meeting, you shut down the discussion, deferring to having the CFO come to me. Because she's in smoothly and intricate and has knowledge. However, is this the same CFO that you fired? And it's the same CFO that told me personally that we would only be allowed for $35 million for the bond for the new marshal when the term 2 weeks later was 92. I knew it was going to be 92, only 35, as I asked him correctly. And then, you know, the city is going to be liable for the lawsuit that was just filed, just awarded in Superior Court against that same CFO. And you know, it's just, I have wondered about the confidence that I have in him and that you have in him, and the whole situation I think is being down.
Okay, well, you bring up a number of points, but first of all, let me explain that in the fall of 2013, that person's CFO appointment expired, and the CFO of the city is now Judith Karen, not the CFO that was involved in the lawsuit. Peter Karen is immensely capable. He has been meeting with Lynn and Heath, our auditors, in order to find a number that will conform with the legislative requirements in rectifying the net school spending issue that had arisen. And I could go on for an hour explaining about the net school spending, but bottom line of it is we do have a solution. We needed to get to a bottom number. And as I said, every department in the city has been asked to take a 2% hit because there's only so much money that I can raise in any given year. I have to be mindful of tax increases and what it does to the taxpayers and the homeowners in the city of Lynn. And at the same time, I have to be very careful to preserve the things that I consider vitally important, such as public safety. So it's been a real balancing act. But the CFO has assured me that Lynn and Heath has assured him that the number at which we can comply with the legislative strictures is $126 million. The school department originally submitted a budget of $132 million. Now, as I said, every department was asked to increase by 2%. The school department, because of these special circumstances, has been allowed to increase with that 126 number by 9%. I have also earmarked $1 million out of the free cash that will be certified around the end of calendar year 2014 to be used for the school department budget. And if you figure in that $1 million, it's actually closer to a 10% increase for the schools. Now, I can understand that the schools want more money. Every department wants more money. But I have to maintain everything within the city and not just the school department. So that $126 million figure is, as I said, a significant increase over last year. And I did not shut down the school committee. I want everybody to know that the school committee put on a revised agenda last Thursday night a discussion of the $132 million budget that was before them that night. And I thought it would be a waste of time because that is not going to be the bottom number of the school department budget. It's going to be $126 million. So I gave everybody the opportunity to speak in generalities about what they wanted to see and what they felt the school department needed. And I'm going to hold another hearing on the budget once we have it revised down to reflect $126 million allocation from the city side. Some of the things that were coming up there, for example, were having iPads for every student. That's 15,000 iPads. And I can't see investing that much for that many of a product because we all know in 2 years the product becomes obsolete, the apps won't work, the newer apps will develop, and then we'd have to buy 15,000 more iPads. So I have asked the school department and the school committee to distinguish between wants and needs because I don't think we need 15,000 iPads. We might want 15,000 iPads. Somebody else had brought up the idea of having social workers at every single school that's open during the summer. Some principals don't want to have the social workers during the summer. So there are ways that we're going to be able to trim. And just also for the record, out of that 132 down to 136, we're not going to have to cut $6 million from the proposed school budget because about 3.8 million of that represents utility costs, and those are simply going to be shifted over to the city side. So now you're down to about a $2.2 million cut, and as I have stated before, $1 million in free cash is earmarked to go to the schools at the end of the calendar year 2014. So we're really looking to cut $1.2 million from the entire school department budget, and that's really less than 1% of the 132 down to 126. I think it's very doable, but we just have to sharpen our pencils. No department is going to get everything that they want this year. It just can't be done. And it's a balancing act, and I accept the responsibility for having to do what I have to do, but I think I am being more fair to the school department. And, yeah, yes, okay.
I was wondering if anything's happened between the city and the council.
They have yet to give us a comprehensive plan. I know that their initial, what they had said to us was they were going to create a center of excellency for mental health. Hey, I can roll with the punches, and that was a really short one anyway. But then they said their budget had been they had underestimated the budget for that by 35% error rate. So I said, what does that mean? We're getting a center of mediocrity? and I think basically they've gone back to the drawing board on that. I'm still waiting for a timeline from them because that's going to give me a much clearer view of what steps we can take at what points. I mean, this has to go through DPH approval, this is a long, long process, but it's hard to tilt at windmills if I don't know what their revised plan. I don't know how I can criticize it if I don't know precisely what it is. So we are still in weekly contact with them, especially with Pam Lawrence, who's one of the vice presidents over there. And we do have a good working relationship with her, and she clearly understands how a community of 90,000 cannot be deprived of a hospital. And by the same token, we let her understand that we do recognize that the model is going toward regional centers, but frankly, we're complaining that why should Salem be getting the cardiology and we're getting the behavioral health? We would like to see a little more of that. So she's aware of that. Again, I wanted to, Mary?
Not on the same level as the hospital and schools, but it does relate to that in the long run. I have read that there's going to be a startup.
On the Lynn, yes.
Can you tell me the location of that literally and when I might expect my daughter?
You know, I'm listening. I think it's on the Wilcox side. I know it's a 770 square foot little cafe that they're proposing. Me, I'm not a Starbucks person. I'm a Dunkin' Donuts girl. But I can assure you, you'll never get your latte on the little way fast. Well, one of the things that I'm avoiding is laying anybody off. And in particular, I'm going to avoid laying off people in the fire and police department. And that's because we have received a number of public safety grants that have enabled them through the years to rank and bring up ranks in numbers from the mid-160s up to about 190 per department now. That's a good number for us. And if I lay them off, I have to repay a portion of the grant. Not to mention, I have to pay unemployment compensation to those people. So some of the things I'm looking to do, for example, in the fire department, we have been on a 3-year rolling vehicle replacement schedule, and we are retiring the debt on one of our vehicles this year. That money is going to get rolled into buying a new ladder 4, which is wonderful. But a new ladder 4, and for those of you who don't know, that's over on Broadway, and it differs from the other 2 ladders that we have in the city because it has a basket on it. It's actually technically called a tower truck, not a ladder truck. Those cost about $900,000. And I think that we are just going to have to slow down on that for a year until we can make our way through the next school spending resolution. That would save me a quick couple of $100,000 over in the fire department. I know that the DPW has asked for 2 new street sweepers. They're 2004 and 2009. They cost $175,000 a piece. Now, street sweepers should have a useful life of more than 10 years. So even though they've been complaining that they break down pretty frequently, I think we're just going to have to continue to use elastics and paper clips and keep them running until we can get on firmer ground. But we're still tinkering with the budget, but the last thing in the world I want to do is lay anybody off, and I can almost guarantee that there are not going to be any public safety people later off. It's just too expensive to do so. Okay, Mary, it's all yours, and thank you again very much.
Thank you very much. Well, once again, we enjoy that as we do every year, getting caught up on things and learning firsthand what's going on at City Hall. I don't get there often enough. I only got once a month usually. And I don't have to get a pay for my dog anymore. Speaking of which, I don't know how many of you are dog owners, but I was a dog owner. And if you have a license for your dog in Lynn, I'm thinking it's the lowest fee in the United States. Anywhere I've been, that fee is just really cheap. So you might make a note of that. And I will become a dog, and I will pay a higher fee. I want to thank some people for being here today. First of all, our city officials. have not gotten together for June 28th. And so we're looking for a different venue and other entertainment. Chances are that it will come off quite well on June 28th. If you give us your email, or if you have had our email, you will, or if we've had your email, we will send you a notice on any changes about that. We hope that you will participate. Last year we had over 200 people participate in the parks around town. It's just an hour and a half of your time to make the city beautiful, more beautiful. And then we get together and enjoy each other as neighbors. So we hope you'll join us for that. And in July, we are, on the 18th, we are trying very hard to get together a Lynn Team's Non-Violence Conference, which will be an all-day event. And you'll be hearing more about that soon. And then in September again, we will be doing our 4th year Trails and Sales. And this year on the venue is Pine Hill Cemetery. And if you have not been to Pine Hill Cemetery, if you're not familiar with the history and the many plots that they have there in different designated areas, you've missed out. So you should get over there and see what's there. If not before then definitely on September the 29th. Yes, again.
The 18th is Friday. Is it supposed to be on Friday?
Yes. Yes. It's a work day. The kids will be off the streets, we hope, while their parents are out working. So we will keep them busy that day.
Anybody else for tickets?
Any more tickets? Going once? Going twice? Okay. One other thing that I will say is that the Community Association is a totally volunteer association. We have no paid employees. We all just kick in and do the work. We get money where we can and when we can. We don't charge any dues, but we consider everybody in the city to be a member. If you have a dollar bill in your pocket or 5, or whether you have $1 to give or $20 to give or no $1 to give, that's fine. We want to meet you where you are. But if you do have something in your pocket that you'd like to leave in a little plastic bottle back there today, we will be very grateful. And with that, let's see, Stan, you want to come up and draw one of these tickets? Stay right there. Okay. Eight 37866. Who won? Okay. The Red Sox backpack or the Monopoly game? Okay. Don't be concerned with the Red Sox backpack. Yeah, that's it. Okay, 837-837. Okay, right here. Moving on again. Now we have cookies, we have coffee and water and lemonade and cupcakes and chips over here if you would please. Be nice, we have cookies. And thank you, we'll see you here.
We'll be down there. I'm heading back down there now. All right, I'm gonna go take care.
Thank you.
Oh, all right. Yeah, we'll be down.